It's March and there's madness. Tonight, the Quinnipiac women's basketball team faced UConn in the second round of the NCAA tournament. And we have Q30 Sierra Goodwill live from Campbell Pavilion for a recap.
We'll show you how Quinnipiac made it to the round of 32. Plus, spring sports are busy over spring break and this week's top 5 plays. Let's get it going. Sports Pause starts now. Good evening and welcome to Sports Pause after a spring break hiatus. I am the Tanless, Dylan Fearon.
And I'm Katie O'Keefe, and no Aruba or Cancun for the women's basketball team, but they did start some madness of their own. Saturday marked the start of the NCAA tournament against the University of Miami for Quinnipiac, and this time around, the feelings leading up to the time of the tip-off weren't all that focused on winning. Quinnipiac basketball beat reporter Sierra Goodwill gives us an insight to the atmosphere of the team off the hardwood. Have a listen.
I'm here at Campbell Pavilion the day before the madness. Right behind me, the Quinnipiac women's basketball team is getting in its last practice before taking on Miami in the first round of the NCAA tournament tomorrow. But in today's meeting with the media, Trisha Fabry and daughter Carly got a bit nostalgic, thinking about their journey together these past 4 years. The head coach knows there's not much time left where they'll be sharing the court, but isn't taking a moment for granted.
And for her to actually have a love and a passion and share that with her mother, and then to do this together to where we're in the pinnacle of where everyone wants to be playing in March Madness and the NCAA tournament, 3 out of 4 years is incredible. But to have her with the ball in her hands, with a great team around her and with her, it's so special. And it's so special to do this with her because of where the program is and how much it means to her. She's been just as invested as the head coach.
As a basketball player growing up in Connecticut, you'd assume that UConn and its 11 national championships was the team to idolize, but not for Carly. Her inspiration was found elsewhere.
Growing up, I wasn't much of a UConn fan. I spent most of my days at either Burt Conn or up at TD Bank up at Quinnipiac. Obviously, UConn is a dynasty. You know, I'm very familiar with them. You know, when you think Connecticut, you think UConn basketball, but I think in the past couple of years, we've done a pretty good job of getting our name out there and for the country to know, like, who Quinnipiac is. So it's been fun, but, yeah, not much of a Husky fan.
Carly's loyalty lied with her mom, which made it that much more interesting when Trish started doubling as her coach.
I think initially there was a really big line. She didn't even know, you know, to call me mom, call me coach, so she just said nothing. And when we were on the court. And now we had a little fun. She would come in the office and say, like, hey, Mom, how's everything going?
The two will look to extend their time on the court together with a win tomorrow at 1:30 against the Hurricanes. The winner goes on to face the UConn Huskies, whether they want to or not. Reporting from Stores, Sierra Goodwill, Q30 Sports.
So the Bobcats are looking for their 3rd NCAA tournament win in 2 years, and a strong 4th quarter helped them get it. 33 points in the final 10 minutes propelled Quinnipiac to an 86-72 win. Jen Fay led the way with 19 points, and Paul Chamonix had 15, but it was a tremendous performance off the bench by junior Brittany Martin, 11 points in 17 minutes. Now this game was won at the three-point line. Quinnipiac with 10 makes from behind the arc, Miami just 2. The Bobcats are actually down 1 going into the 4th quarter, but then the Bobcats turned it on using a 14-1 run to put the game out of reach. Again, that's the 3rd NCAA tournament win in 2 years. Impressive for a lot of teams, but nearly unfathomable for a mid-major. Our own Sierra Goodwill and Brian Schwartz discuss what the win means for the program and what lies ahead.
The Quinnipiac women's basketball team picked up wins against the Miami Hurricanes in the NCAA tournament in back-to-back years. This time at Campbell Pavilion, the final score was 86-72. Welcome inside the rebound. I'm Sierra Goodwill. Alongside me is Brian Schwartz. Brian, Edel Thornton is someone you wouldn't think that would have the game of her career today, but she did. And maybe it had something to do with St. Patrick's Day.
We had to, because they traveled all the way, so couldn't send them home without a win. So, yeah. I mean, it means a lot. and all the girls, like it was a great enthusiasm for the whole game. Like obviously we wanted to win, but it was extra special to just do it on today, I guess. Yeah.
Moving forward into Monday night, they face UConn. They're the dynasty of women's basketball. They're the #1 overall seed. So what do you do? What do you tell your team heading into this?
Just try your best. They're not going to win. We all know that. They're not going to win. Head coach Trisha Fabry knows that too. This UConn team put up 140 points today, an NCAA record for the tournament. They have no shot. But what they can do is play a tough game and really give UConn their all, because this is Nutmeg State battle. This is everything that Quinnipiac wants. They can really get themselves on the map if they aren't yet, which they probably are. But Quinnipiac, playing a tough game against Connecticut, can do a lot of great things for this program.
And there's no doubt that these stands will be filled to capacity. Great experience for Quinnipiac to have as well. Be sure to follow our coverage on our Twitters and at Q30 Sports on Twitter for continued coverage leading up to that Monday night game at 6:30 here at Gamble Pavilion.
And now live from Gamble Pavilion in Storrs, Connecticut is basketball expert Sierra Goodwill. Sierra, tell us how it all went down.
What an incredible atmosphere it was here at Gamble Pavilion tonight. A sold-out crowd for the #1 overall UConn Huskies against the #9 Quinnipiac Bobcats. Despite a 25-point loss for Quinnipiac, there was a lot of positives to take out of this. For one, they held UConn to 33 points in the first half. That's the lowest amount of points they've scored in a half this entire season, other than one other game. And of course, Quinnipiac, the lowest amount of turnovers against any UConn opponent this season. The Bobcats' game plan was to slow down the pace of this game, dictate the pace, because Quinnipiac was not going to let UConn blow the doors off of this one early on, so they used the full 30 seconds on the shot clock. And unfortunately for the Bobcats, that failed them when they weren't able to convert on open looks. They shot just over 30% from the field and only 4 made three-pointers, which wasn't going to cut it against the Huskies. But at the end of the game, a special moment was when senior Carly Fabry exited the game for her final time as a Bobcat. She gave her mom, of course, the head coach Trisha Fabry, a nice big hug, exchanged some words, but she has nothing to hang her head about. 114 career wins. 3 MAC championships and 3 NCAA tournament wins is an incredible career. Reporting live from Storrs, I'm Sierra Goodwill, Q30 Sports. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot, Sierra. Again, a really impressive year for this team. Falls short, but it's against the #1 team in the tournament and probably the best program in women's basketball history.
I agree.
Switching to lacrosse now, the men's lax team enters MAC play. Crazy to think, Katie, that the conference schedule has already started. First on tap for Quinnipiac, the Siena Saints, a team the Bobcats have lost to 2 out of the last 3 years. Quinnipiac won a nail-biter Saturday, though, 12-11. The Bobcats jumped out to an early 9-4 lead before the Saints scored 6 straight goals, but Quinnipiac forward Matt Frost had the last laugh, scoring the game-winning goal with 4 minutes to play. Quinnipiac's now 4-3 overall and 1-0 in the MAC.
And announced today for his performance in a 1-point win against Siena, freshman attack Jake Tomsic was named the MAC Men's Lacrosse Rookie of the Week. Tomsic recorded 3 assists and 1 goal. His 3 assists came from the first quarter to help keep it an even game at 4-4. And though he scored just once, that fourth quarter goal gave the Bobcats the lead they needed after Siena's 6-0 run early in the game.
Time for a quick break, but when we come back, women's lax hits the road for 2 tough games. How many wins would Quinnipiac come home with?
Plus, the baseball and softball teams had more weekend play in the South. Along that, we have the top 5 plays from this year's men's hockey season. Stick around.
Hello, and tonight on Sandwich News, we will determine what makes a good sandwich and a bad sandwich. First, the standard sandwich. Uninspired, and frankly, a little gross. But we have here a Ray and Mike sandwich, the Cadillac of sandwiches. And if you want one, well,
come on down to Ray and Mike's at 3030 Whitney Ave, Hamden, Connecticut. Open every day from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Qcash is accepted.
now that's a sandwich.
This is Sports Paws.
Are you concerned with the 0-2 start for this team?
Right here, top of the circle, again, rips it past the grassroots goalie.
What will breaking the record mean for the program himself? I mean, 138 wins.
There's the tough shot. What a nice play by Mikey Dixon.
He's good in transition. Just a really dynamic scorer he can create for himself.
And now, Emma, it's time for the top 5 plays of the week.
Coming up on #that, we talk about some fun events around Quinnipiac's campus.
And we talk about some weird news that's been discussed around Twitter.
All that and more, we are your source for Quinnipiac's entertainment news.
Welcome to the WQAQ Morning Show. Dan Ball and Emma Spagnolo joining you here from the QAQ studios in Hamden. And Emma, it is that time of year again.
Sports Paws is sponsored by Custom Cakes by Steve. If you can dream it, we can bake it.
Katie, it wasn't an ideal start to spring break for the women's lacrosse team. That's after a 12-5 loss on Wednesday to Kennesaw State. It was close early, 4-4. Maya Feigenbaum tied up the game at 4, but then it was all owls after that. 8-1 scoring run to end the game. The Bobcats still looking for that first road win of the season with Gardner-Webb coming up next.
And now here we'll go. We'll take you to the Gardner-Webb University game. And that was a tough loss to Kennesaw State, but then the team landed here in Boiling Springs, North Carolina. And you see here a big performance by the whole team. You got multiple goals and multiple assists from multiple players here. Bomsky with 5 goals, Druin with 2, and Kuhn with 4. Then Gardner-Webb, they didn't have enough just to pull through for that win, but it obviously just wasn't enough.
But you know, it was a pretty successful weekend for the softball team. They hit the road as well. They're in Florida. A couple of road games, 5 to be exact. They go 3-2. Their pitching was really good. 2 shutouts. They even beat St. Joe's 4-1 to close out the tournament, which was at South Florida. A couple of losses in between there. We know the offense has been struggling in the past couple of years, but the pitching was really solid against some really tough competition. They go 3-2.
Definitely.
To baseball, the Bobcats head to North Carolina for a 3-game set against UNC Wilmington. This is game 2. Quinnipiac lost game 1, 19-0. This one will be a little closer. Let's start bottom 3 again, Katie. They're playing in North Carolina, 3-game set. They get blown out in the first game, so what happens when they come out for the second one? Bottom 3, Bobcats already down 1-0. Zach Canada said, let's add 2 more. Crush shot to left, only hits a car windshield. Quinnipiac's offense was poor this weekend, Katie, but it showed up in the 4th inning. Still 3-0, but Quinnipiac's Liam Scaffarello is going to hit the wall here. Gapper to left, center. Gotta love it. 2 runners come home to get Quinnipiac on the board. And then a couple of batters later, you gotta love the fundamentals, Katie. You know, smart baseball. You're not always going to win it with the bat. But Ben Gibson bunt down to second base just slow enough that it doesn't reach the infielder in time. Scaffarello comes home and we're tied at 3. Really smart play there by Gibson. That's all the offense Quinnipiac could muster, though. Defense, it didn't look great either. We already saw Gibson. It's 4-3 Wilmington. Grounder over to Gibson at first. Bobbles it, and then a high throw to the pitcher. 2 runs are going to come around to score. Quinnipiac on the short end of this one, 6-3. They'd also lose game 3 as well, right, Katie?
That's right. And now for baseball.
So let's go to top 5 plays, Katie. It's our favorite time, we know. A little different this week because we usually do all the sports, but this week it's just men's ice hockey from their entire season. Some really good plays here. Number 1, number 2, a lot of debate there, but some really good plays here, right, Katie?
Yeah, let's take you to top 5. The 5th play, you got Andrew Shortridge. He makes a save and he gives it down the ice end to end. Landon Smith, he makes a beautiful pass there to Tanner McMaster, and the Bobcats shut out Brown 5-0.
Number 4, Cornell and Quinnipiac in Hamden. Breakaway for the Big Red, but Andrew Shortridge has other plans. Slams the door down here with a nice pad save. Cornell wins, though, 2-1.
Now play 3, you got Quinnipiac versus Union. You see Odin Tufto here. He passes it to Alex Whalen. He's going to take it down the ice, fools the Union goalie, and puts it in the back of the net. Except Union would get the last laugh and win 5-2.
Tufto, a good pass. He's going to score here. Number 2, we go to Northeastern. Chase Prisky over to Tufto. Avoids a diving defender. Almost gets his feet taken out under him. Keeps his balance. Highlight reel goal. Quinnipiac wins.
Now for the top play of the season, you got Bobcats and Bulldogs. You see here, Tana McMaster steals the puck and gives it behind his back to Joe O'Connor. He puts it through his legs and into the back of the net. Bobcats swept Yale in the ECAC playoffs in that first round.
That's all the time we have tonight. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Q30 Sports and check out our website at q30television.com.
For the entire production staff behind the scenes, my co-host Dylan Fearon and myself, have a good night and we'll see you next week.